Have you ever been in a place where you felt like you were doing everything right? You were praying so hard, you were fasting, you were going to church, you were reading your Bible, and then you still felt like you were at a place where I don't know what to do. Nothing is working. If that's ever been you, this episode's for you. Welcome back to Gotta Keep Going, a space for faith and mental health where every day is a sign of faith. I'm Charnay, and I'm happy you're here. Today, we're talking about prayer and when it feels like it's just not enough. There was a time where I think I treated prayer like it was supposed to be transactional, and part of it is because that's what I was taught growing up. Like, if you're depressed, pray it away. If you're stressed, pray it away. If you're anxious, pray it away. So I was going to the Lord, and I was like, okay, Lord, I'm depressed. Take it away. I'm anxious. Take it away. I'm stressed, take it away. And it wasn't going away. And I was like, wait a minute, y'all said I just had to pray about it and it would be gone. But that's just not how it works. And I started to think there was something wrong with me, but there wasn't anything wrong with me. It's just that prayer is the foundation, not the finish line. Prayer isn't meant to be the finish line. Prayer is a way to connect with God while you're in it, while you're in the midst of something. And the promise that the Lord gave us wasn't for the solution. It wasn't to just magically take it away, but it was about peace while you're in the storm. Let's turn over to Philippians chapter 4, verse 6 through 7. Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God, and the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. I think something to point out in this scripture is that it says, peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds. So it doesn't say anything about, hey, pray about it and it's going to be done. It's going to be gone, or it's going to be whatever the word is. He's saying that I'm going to give you peace in these moments. So it's easy to think, okay, don't be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer. And you're supposed to present it to the Lord, but I think He's supposed to give you peace in the midst of the thing that you're worried about. So in my depression that I'm going to Him about, He's supposed to give me peace. Not supposed to, but He will give me peace while I'm on the journey through my depression. It won't just go away with a snap, but He'll give me peace in knowing that I'm not alone and that there's more, there's next steps after this prayer, and that peace is that first step. God promised us peace in the process, but He did not promise us a shortcut. We had to get through it, and He's just there to get through it with us and give us that peace while we go through it. James 2:17. In the same way, faith by itself, if it is not accompanied by action, it is dead. We all know the saying, faith without works is dead. So we can have that faith. We could give it to the Lord and be like, hey, Lord, I'm depressed. Lord, I'm anxious. Lord, I'm stressed. Lord, I'm having mood swings. But where do we go from there? Where's the work? And maybe that work is taking care of yourself. I think we have these expectations of what the work should look like in a grave way or in a minute way. And I think sometimes it's just taking care of yourself. So maybe that work that goes with the faith could be that therapy appointment that you have been avoiding making, that doctor's appointment where you should be telling the truth and you're not. Is it setting a boundary with someone that you know needs to be set? Is it taking some rest, some well-needed rest, taking some time off for yourself? That work can look like something different per person, per situation. And you might think of it like, I'm not working. Like, we think of work as the thought of putting in a certain effort to be exhausted, but that work could be something healing, something that is not a heavy lift, like having a therapy appointment and letting them meet you halfway, or telling the doctor how you're feeling so they can be let in. And it's not just on you to do the work, but them to do the work to help you, because that's what they're here for. Or being able to say, hey, this is where I have to draw the line with you. Or just taking a nap. That nap could be your work. That nap could be your solution to a prayer. and you won't even know it because you don't think that's what that work should look like. I want to take a moment. There's this thing when you go to the doctor's appointment, and it's called, and I quote, the PHQ 9, and it's the over the last 2 weeks. Mind you, I've been in a lot of therapy, I've been in a lot of doctors, I've been to a lot of neurologists, so I take that test a lot. But when I was younger and I would go to the doctor and I would get that test, I would lie up and down. Just lie, 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 lie. Yeah, I'm great. Ooh. And it's like when you're reading those questions, you're like, dang, that's me. Dang, that's me. Dang, that's me. But I'm not going to admit that. And you got my mom standing right here too. Like, I'm like, "Ugh, I love everything. I'm so excited. I enjoy doing things. I have interest in everything." And it's like, why? Let's take a moment to think about, why are we lying on those? That is that moment that could be the pivotal point in that prayer that you just had about your depression. So, how can I go and pray about my depression and be like, Lord, please take it away. Lord, help me with it. And then I go to the doctor that's supposed to help me, or the therapist that's supposed to help me, and I lie about it. How do we move forward without honesty, and honesty with ourselves and honesty with others? And the reason why we don't tell the truth on those documents could be for many reasons. Maybe you don't feel safe enough. Maybe you feel like you're going to be too much, or it's going to be annoying, or it's like, oh, like, you supposed to lie. Almost like when people ask, how are you? And they want you to say fine and you. They don't actually want to know how you are. So you feel like in that moment, they don't actually want to know, like, how I'm really feeling. Or maybe you're just not ready to accept it yet. And that's okay. The crazy thing about it, though, is the doctor can only meet you where you let them find you. So if you don't let them find you at your worst, or being honest about having a hard time, they can't meet you because they don't even know you're there. Like, you're on the ground crying, but they don't see it because you didn't let them know. So it's just like they can't pick you up because they don't know. So sometimes that clipboard with that assessment is an open door, and sometimes we close it. Like, God opened a door for you to get help. He could have sent someone to be like, hey, give her this questionnaire, open her up right now, because you have the resources for her. And you closed it because you didn't want to be honest. I'm not trying to condemn anyone for not telling the truth on those assessments, because I've been there. But just think about the fact that maybe next time, answer truthfully. And it doesn't have to be to an extreme way. It could even be just like a little disinterest in my favorite things. And that could open the door for a discussion. And it doesn't have to be, like, you're not going to end up in grippy socks. I don't think. But I promise, you're not going to end up in grippy socks because you told the truth about feeling a bit depressed sometimes. So think of it as an opportunity to a possible answered prayer. Answering that form honestly is the work. It is the action. It's that work that goes with the faith. Like, the faith without work. That answering honestly is that work. And it might not seem like it, but it is, because it opens a door. It opens a door, and it's an act of faith, honestly. So sometimes the bravest thing that you can do all week is to answer honestly to the form that no one's actually watching you fill out. And I always like to think that 30 minutes later or an hour later, that person, whoever's looking at it, is not going to think about you again. They probably moved on to the next thing after 10 minutes. Like, you're not going to rent space in their head, I promise. So if you have the capacity, be honest next time you have one of those questionnaires. Not that we're all getting those questionnaires every day, but it's just something to throw out there. I definitely think I'm guilty of being in a space where I was just praying and waiting for God to do the miraculous thing. I would pray about my anxiety and be like, well, why am I still anxious? I prayed that I wouldn't be anxious. And don't get me wrong, there's moments where I might be having an anxiety attack, and I will pray to take away the anxiety, to take away the anxiousness, the anxious thoughts. But a lot of that comes from slowing down and praying, and that's a work in itself. I'm taking time to breathe. I'm slowing down. I say all that to say that there's an action that has to be behind the prayer. The deep breaths was the action, and I didn't know it at the time. So when it came to the bigger things, I was like, well, I asked God not for me not to be depressed anymore, and I'm still depressed. So, and it'll cause you to have a decrease in faith because you're like, I did what I was supposed to do. I'm supposed to give my worries to the Lord, so why aren't I seeing any changes? Isaiah 41:10. So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. God tells us blatantly that he's going to help us. Like, it's there in word, and yes, it starts with a prayer. But I feel like help comes in different facets. Help has hands. Help may have an address. Help may even have an appointment time. God created us all. And so he created the resources. He created schooling for people to get certifications in counseling. He created the power of movement. He created everything. I don't want to just keep saying the same things, but he created all these resources for us to be the work that goes with the faith, the in between of the prayer to the answer. The bridge between who you are now and who you want to be is built with prayer and an action. And without one or the other, you're just stuck in the middle. So I'll ask you this. What's the step that you've been praying around but you haven't taken yet? Think about it and just say, should I take that next step so I can get across the bridge? Because faith without works is a half-built bridge. And that brings me into my last point. One thing that I wish someone would have told me sooner is that needing more isn't a lack of faith, it's actually wisdom. Needing help is not weak. Needing help is not shameful. Needing help is not a testament to who you are, and it's not a testament to a lack coming from God. It's being wise and knowing that you can't do it alone. And I know sometimes we're like, okay, I'm not doing it alone, I'm doing it with God. And yes, you are, but you're still alone in another facet that could be possible. You might need extra help and it be someone. For me personally, that was therapy. I needed more, and those people came from God, and it was an answered prayer. But for me to receive the answered prayer, I had to accept that I needed the help. And that started with filling out that request for therapy, or it started with me getting up in the morning to move my body to go to the gym, or it started with me reaching out to a friend when I felt like I was in crisis. And after that action was the answered prayer. So that faith lied in me knowing that I needed more help. We're at a place where people are talking about therapy more, and they're talking about counseling and talking to someone more, but we're also at a place where it can feel like you're weak if you need to talk to someone. Like, I should be able to just get through it alone. Like, all I have to do is talk to the Lord. And I think you're depriving yourself from a true freedom that might be there. You're depriving yourself from healing that could be there, because healing is not this one-way street. Healing takes work. Healing genuinely takes work. And you're not going to be able to snap your fingers and be healed. Yes, God works in miraculous ways. God is a healer, but God is a healer through the resources he gives you. He is a healer through the people. He might bring certain people into your life that will heal you through counseling, through digging through all the things, by unraveling all the things that could have been broken inside of you mentally and spiritually. So to sit back and find that extra help, that is God saying, I see you and I sent someone for you. And isn't that amazing to think about the amount of love that God sent someone and he knew, like, this is what you need. God built community and helpers into the design. It was all a part of his design. And I think we forget that sometimes. We were genuinely made to need one another. Like, he made Eve for Adam because Adam wasn't supposed to be alone. None of us were supposed to be alone. We weren't supposed to do this alone. And I think we have to sit back and think about that sometimes, that community is needed, people are needed, and we're there to help one another. So whether that is therapy, whether that's having a group session, whether that's hanging out with a friend, calling a friend, or even this podcast, just being able to pour into other people, that is what God designed. He designed us to be there for one another. We're called, and we can't be called. There's no way you could be called and there not be anything to pick up. You get what I'm saying? Like, we can't all have these callings and these purposes and it not be centered around other people, because it would just be us centered, and our callings and our purposes aren't just about ourselves. It's not how we can serve ourselves. He didn't put us here for that. He put us here to create something, to be purposeful. So reaching out to someone is not a sign of a lack of faith. It is your sign of faith. It is showing that you believe that you did the first step, which was pray to God, and now I'm doing the second step, which he could have led you to emotionally and spiritually, led you to calling someone or putting in that request for an appointment or being honest on your questionnaire. And to me, those are faithful steps. That is the work that gets you across the bridge. So I want to leave with 3 things. The first one, prayer is real and it's necessary. It is the ultimate foundation for when you are in a moment of distress, or if you're in the moment of gratitude, prayer is the answer. However, faith without works is dead. So you need it. You need the works to complete the bridge. And lastly, needing help doesn't make you less human, less wise, less honest, less strong. It actually makes you really strong and really faithful. The answer you're looking for can look way different than you expected. It could be an action that you didn't think you could take or didn't have the courage to take, and that's okay. The comma between your prayer and your breakthrough is where the work lies. So do the work. Do the internal work and think about what it is that you need. Pray to the Lord and ask him, what do I need to get through this? What is my next step? And just knowing, like, Lord, give me peace while I go through the next step, because he is there to give you peace. He will give you peace. But we have to be diligent to know that we have some work to do as well, and that faith without works is dead. So I want to thank you all for being here. This was a shorter episode, but I feel like it was important for me to talk about, because I do believe that sometimes it can feel like you're not being heard, you're not being answered, and mental health is a long road, and there is no snap your fingers and my depression is gone, snap my fingers and I'm no longer bipolar. It's a long road, and prayer is genuinely the foundation, but there's some other steps that have to go after that. So I hope that you were able to take a little nugget here or there from this and share with anyone. Go ahead, like, subscribe, comment, do all the things that help me out, and I hope you take care of yourself this week. Until next time, I'm Charnay, and this has got to keep going.